Now, what have you been playing this month?
Finally finished Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus. It was developed by Machine Games and published by Bethesda Softworks. It was originally released on October 27th, 2017 for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, and then later released on the Nintendo Switch. I did not care to look up when. The story is that our hero, William B.J. Blazkowicz, goes into a coma right at the end of the first game. And time advances a little. His lover is pregnant, another leftover from the last game. You have to remember which of your cohorts and thus which storyline you chose from the first game. I don't think I talked about that last time. The first level, you have to choose one out of two of your comrades to die, and it changes the story. So that added replay value to the first game because the story changed depending on who died, who kill. But because this is a sequel to that one, you had to remember which one you chose. Again, more replay value because the timelines change. There's a long cutscene in the first level of the new mean Nazi Beach killing the leader of the rebels. The leader would be Caroline. Right in front of your eyes, clearly establishing her as the villain. The rest of the game, BJ talks to himself in a way, it kind of feels like he's praying to his now dead comrade, and he talks about how he'll avenge her death, how he'll miss her being in charge, etc., etc. Places you'll see as you play this game are Manhattan, Roswell, New Orleans, and the planet Venus. Locations are quite large. They're often cut up into 3 or 4 levels, so you spend 3 or 4 levels in the same section. They couldn't load it all in, I'm assuming, or they were trying to cut it up into bite-sized pieces, which I appreciate. There's quite a bit about BJ's family, how awful his father was to him and his mom, and that does a lot more important storytelling or character building than BJ praying to Caroline, which I think is why he's doing that. They're trying to make him a sensitive human instead of just a mute Nazi killing machine, but it didn't really land for me. There's one level where he goes back home and he's looking around trying to find something, and there's a lot of memories there, and that level was really well done. This game mostly takes place in the 60s and plays with a lot of political and social issues in mostly interesting ways. Oh, I know. Spencer's making lovey-dovey eyes at me.
My butt cheeks are puckering in excitement.
At first, when they started with it, I was like, oh no, but it was handled pretty well. About halfway or 2/3 of the way through, BJ is publicly beheaded on national TV. He's caught by the Nazis, and they're all celebrating, and they go way up high. I want to say like the Lincoln Memorial or something like that, and like behead him in front of the masses. And as the player, you definitely know, like, that's kind of short for the game to end there. It is. I thought maybe his wife was going to take over as the Nazi killing machine for him, go on a murderous rampage as a pregnant lady. I think that would be kind of funny. But the rebels catch his head, they rush it to their headquarters and use the same technology that's been shown in the games in this series. The same technology to attach his head to a motorized body, like Robo Hitler from Wolfenstein 3D and the final villain from the last game, the New Order, I believe. So that's when they also introduce new movement skills, but I'll get into that later. The game ends quite memorably with you finding the mean Nazi Beach being interviewed on a late night TV show. You sneak onto the set and graphically kill her in front of everybody on national TV, and then incite a revolution against the Nazi government while a metal cover of We're Not Gonna Take It plays.
Nice.
For visuals, they were much better than the last game. Machine Games clearly had more time, assets, or both this time around. I don't know enough to say, oh, it was definitely this, but it was definitely baked better and polished more this time around. The story has a bunch of cinematics through the whole game that look fantastic. And
are they in-engine or pre-rendered?
Pre-rendered.
Interesting.
Mostly, but they also, it would be like a pre-rendered cinematic, and then you come into the engine and watch for a little bit more as they explain the mission, and then you start playing. As far as sound design, some guy called Mick Gordon was the composer for this game, working alongside Martin Stig Anderson, who also scored Inside. I don't know that gentleman as well. Guns are very recognizable by just their sound. I knew I had chosen the wrong gun from the weapon wheel without looking at the nondescript black outline, just because I could tell by the boom 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 of the weapon. Movement is noticeable with heavy boom boom of boots, especially when BJ is mostly a walking robot for the last third-ish of the game. His movement makes different sounds than it did beforehand. So I didn't really remember the music as well as just the environment and the things you interact with in the game, in the world. Although there was one bug that I remembered from when I played this several years ago. In the headquarters that you can explore in, there's one bedroom with like a punching bag, and you can hold square to punch it, and there's a missing sound effect. There's nothing there. It's really weird. I can't believe they didn't fix it soon after launch. It's odd. Gameplay. This game was the practice round for Doom Eternal, I think, where hallway ambushes and killing arenas are obvious, but where Doom Eternal feels open and easy to traverse quickly, Wolfenstein II feels unnecessarily heavy and bogged down by bad design, I dare say. The ability to have time slow down or stop while in the weapon wheel is an unlockable skill much, much later in the game, like final quarter of the game. And that's balancing guns in both hands. This game has a heavy emphasis on dual wielding all the time to maximize your damage, but it doesn't let you take the time to choose your weapons for two hands. It's very frustrating. Faster mobility skills are unlockables. Every time you change weapons, you have a small cinematic, like unfolding the stock or racking a new round into the pistol, which really inhibits the ability to get a quick kill to get yourself out of trouble. It takes time to take the stupid weapon out.
But pretty.
Every time. This game clearly wants to play like an arena shooter, but has tendencies like this that make you want so badly to just play strategically and take your time. Gun upgrades again are like Doom, where you get two different firing options, but with so many weapons, I left my preferred upgrades attached and would just switch weapons to suit my needs, because switching weapons or weapon mods both felt like it took too long. So like in Doom Eternal, you have the regular shotgun has the lob sticky grenades or the automatic turret shotgun shooting. It's like that. There's two different mods, but it takes so much time to switch everything in this game. There are so many collectibles in Wolfenstein 2. There are gold pieces, star cards, which are like baseball cards with people on the front, but no one recognizable. My research suggests it was people that worked on the game. Weapon upgrades, Max Haas toys, records, and so much readable content. There's literally a room at the Rebel headquarters littered with readable content all over the room. You just run around and pick up, I'd say, like 35 pieces of paper.
Wow.
And it expects you to read it all. There's literally, the last time for me there was this much stuff, collectible reading stuff in a game was probably Witcher 3, and I still cared to at least skim most of those. This game, I honestly didn't care. It was so much world building, which is nice. It's nice that they took the time to put the detail in, but share some of that with like TV news reports or radio shows that and people conversing in the hallways as I walk by it, just to keep it interesting. Share some of the world building with audio as well as visual. I don't want to read my video game. This isn't Baldur's Gate or Pillars of Eternity. Level design is mostly straightforward, but the Rebels headquarters is so confusing to get around with 3 levels of many rooms and hallways. It's a maze, and it changes as the game progresses. Like, rooms open up and people fill it more and more and more, so it as you're getting a grip on where everything is, it's still changing around you. It's very frustrating. Difficulty is wiggity whack. I had it on the 5th hardest difficulty when I started, because I am not a noob to shooters or video games. And I ended up finishing the game on basically story mode. I dropped it all the way to the bottom.
Jeez.
Which was admittedly too easy, but the second difficulty, the next one up, would still kick my ass in sections, and I was just done. I wanted to finish this game. I don't know if it was... I think it was just bad balancing in the difficulties, and especially with the inconsistent feeling of arena shooter or stealthy shooting. I don't know. I couldn't figure this game out and how it wanted me to play it. Way worse than you with Doom Eternal.
Yeah, you've been trying to play this game for what, like 3 months now?
At least. So in closing, I wanted so badly to love this game because it's a big step up in quality from the first one as far as visuals and sound design and story. There was a lot of care put into it. It looks and sounds better than the first. It has an engaging story and fun concepts to play with, but the actual gameplay just mentally broke me. I'm so glad I finished it. I have no interest in going back. I think I got this game on a Black Friday sale, so I'm gonna guess I got it for $20. It's difficult to suggest a price point on this one. You hated Doom Eternal, and I love it. I can see why you hate it. It took me a while to figure out how to play it, how they wanted you to play it. But once I figured it out, I loved it.
I really do need to go back and replay that once I get settled into my new place and I can actually get my setup redone.
Yeah.
And have time and energy to do it again. Because that was too much.
Yeah.
And I was getting so pissed off. And instead of switching to anything else, I just continued plowing through it.
Right.
Every 20 minutes doing another line of cocaine, hoping I didn't break my monitor.
This is another modernized boomer shooter. If that sounds interesting, if you love New Order, definitely pick this one up. It's got to be cheap by now. Otherwise, play Doom 2016 or Eternal.
Will you be playing any of the other new Wolfenstein games? I believe one of them is a prequel, and then another one is a somewhat disjointed sequel, but it's not like a third game.
Yeah, so there's the Old
Blood and New Blood,
Old Blood. Yep, that one is a smaller game. It's way more focused on stealth and silent killing. I'm not very good at stealth games at all. And then the new one, Young Blood, is basically a 2-player co-op game, and it landed with pretty mixed reviews, so no, I won't be doing either of those.